All right, let's start by talking through some things. First is that everybody always wants me to tell them or like act like I understand exactly what's going on when we make a change. I am learning and discovering this new format just like all of you are. So I am trying things and trying to fix problems that this archetype has by making changes. So for a hot second here, let's talk about why I've made the changes that I've made and what problems I'm attempting to solve. First is that the draws with this flash deck that you have Growth Spiral feel infinitely better than the draws that you don't. So the idea is that by playing Land War Elves, we have more draws that involve an accelerant to allow that to happen. Second, this deck has a difficult time where people get underneath it. So like fast creatures in play, and Seal Away feels really mediocre. I'm just not a huge fan of it. The rules were in the chat that you had to click past the first time you typed a message. Good job ignoring them and then complaining about the rules being in a link. Here for the banter. What's going on, J-Rock? So the idea here is that I'm going to try some copies of Growth Chamber Guardian because this card's overperformed in every other deck I've put it in. This is an early play that against aggressive decks can simply trade with their early plays for 2 mana, but it's also proactive against other control decks in the format. The last big change here in the main deck is I've swapped Absorb for Sinister Sabotage. And Sinister Sabotage, this swap has happened because Land War Elves cannot help cast Absorb, but it can, however, cast Sinister Sabotage. You can go turn 1 elf off a breeding pool, turn 2 sabotage something. And while that's a little bit narrow, I think giving myself the ability to do that is meaningful. As far as the sideboard goes, I think the aggressive matchups for this deck is probably hard. So I'm trying 2 Shalai along with 2 Lyra as a way to help us lock up those burn matchups a little bit. Lyra is super potent with Angel of Grace too, because it gets Angel of Grace out of Lava Coil range and it lets it gain life as you attack. So again, this is, in my opinion, the correct way to approach building and tuning a deck. As I play my initial list, I think about, okay, what problems am I having while playing this list, and how can I make changes to try and address those problems? There's a chance that the changes that I've made don't successfully address the problems that I have, and I need to continue iterating and trying new things. But we need to break a few eggs to make an omelet. We need to try things to figure out what works and what doesn't work as we're trying to create new archetypes and perfect them. What are my thoughts on Knight of Autumn? I think Knight of Autumn's just kind of mediocre overall. While the gaining health seems appealing, like the fact that it's just a 2-1 afterwards leaves a lot to be desired. It doesn't trade meaningfully with most things at that point. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. I like your ideas and want to know when can I attend your TED Talk. What's going on, Fancy Penguin? Thanks for dropping in. This is my TED Talk. How do I clip this as Jeff explains the scientific method? I do traditional play for the reason that I just explained about tuning this deck list. I have no idea if this deck is good. And if it's not good, I want to be able to make changes in between the matches as opposed to being locked in. Blink is on the list of cards I want to try in this archetype for sure. So I'm going to shock this in, and I'm going to go ahead and Growth Spiral now, because if I hit a green source, I can also play this. I am a god. Do, 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 do. Your move, Yugi boy. This is all we got. When the format is settled, do I do more events? Nah, probably not. I'll probably be playing the ladder when the format's more settled. We're going to have a ranked best of 3 ladder soon. Well, this hand is not good against Jeskai control. That being said, I think our Jeskai control matchup on average is pretty good, so I'm not super worried about it. If I shock this in, I have 6 mana, right? So I can play this Growth Chamber Guardian plus the Frilled Mystic to protect it. Why not Glacial Fortress? Because I'm dumb. And I thought this was a Hallowed Fountain. I've been playing Magic here for 9.5 hours and wasn't paying attention. You know, we don't pull the punches here, chat. We just call it like it is. Hey, what's going on, Kamal? Thank you very much for the tier 2 sub. I really appreciate that next level of support. Stop manually tapping, you monster. Learn to use the auto tapper. Someone asked about Hydroid Crisis. Please read the stream rules. Take a 10-minute break. Sorry. Once we pass the 8-hour mark, my tolerance for breaking the rules is goes down to 0. Probably dead here because I've drawn 2 copies of Settle the Wreckage. Although I suppose if we draw Chemister's Insight, we can like Chemister's Insight some of these away. OP manually, no, my opponent manually tapped their lands the same way the auto tapper would have tapped their lands. So literally all they did was waste their time and mine. We're like debating on if they want to jam Teferi here. We don't have good tools for beating Niv Mizzet game 1, but post sideboard, we gain Plummet and Ixalan's Binding. Sure. Okay, you like how they manually tapped all 5 of their lands? They're just manually tapping it because they're afraid of change. I'm of the opinion that if you only have all of the same land in play, like if you have all mountains or all islands in play, you shouldn't have the option to disable the auto tapper. You should be required to use it. I should have an option to select a queue or only play against people who use the auto tapper. I agree. In fact, I'm going to concede this because we're likely dead and I'm not sitting here longer than I have to against someone who's not going to auto tap. You manually tap because you like manually tapping. Take a break. We time people out who post stupid things around here. Alright, so Settle the Wreckage is pretty bad. What else do I want to trim here? The username was That's Risky username. Checks out. Wonder Guy with the brand new Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. I appreciate that. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about what's going on here. And I wonder if I have too many cards for this matchup. Growth Chamber Guardian's probably cuttable. This is the matchup where he really shines, and like, because I had Growth Chamber Guardian in my deck, there's a chance my opponent leaves things like Sweepers in their deck. No, I think cutting Land War Elves is fine. I think playing Elf on 1 and then like slowly beating them to death with it sounds great. Land War Elf is also a 1/1 that hangs out after they down tick a Teferi and kills him. Yeah, seal away means you're already dead to Niv. And I'm bringing in 2 Crushing Canopies and 2 Ixalan's Bindings. That should be plenty to take Niv out, hopefully. Would you consider trimming those in these matchups? So, cards like Quench tend to be good in control mirrors, because control mirrors tend to come down to counter fights, and when there's 3 or 4 counter spells on the stack, Quench then remains a live card. Quench is good in the early game, and it's fine as the matches go long, because there's often going to be large stacks where Quench can still be live. Against a deck like Jund, where there's not going to be large stacks, I could agree with that, but in a matchup where both sides are playing counter spells, that's less true. Hey, Badello Breathe. Thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch. Thanks for supporting mine with that. Growth Spiral sounds great. Kinda sad my elf is dead, but you know, it is what it is. This hand's lining up pretty well against a control deck so far. If they don't play something that's really scary here, we should be in a pretty good spot. Yeah, streaming's a lot like being a parent. You have to speak slowly and repeat yourself very often. That's one of the reasons why I have rules and I have chat commands, is because it saves me some repeating. Rather than repeating what the stream rules are every time someone breaks them, I just time them out and say, hey, go read these. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and let this resolve. I could counter this, but if they untap and play a Teferi, I'm, like, incredibly sad. Is Spell Pierce worth having in the sideboard for the control matchup? I do not think so. The control matchup does tend to go a little bit long, and while I leave Quench in, I'm not super excited to leave Quench in. I mostly leave Quench in because it's less bad, not because it's actively good. So I've tested Teferi in the sideboard. The problem is that Teferi doesn't fix problems that we have. While there's definitely matchups like this, for instance, where he's very good, matchups like this don't tend to be hard matchups for this archetype, which means playing overboarding cards for matchups that are already good generally isn't a great idea. We've got all the different types of elf people, so I'm actually just gonna let this Growth Chamber Guardian get countered here, because if I Frilled Mystic, this is game 1, so they definitely have sweepers in their deck still. If I Frilled Mystic the Absorb, they could untap and like Kaya's Wrathme or stick a Planeswalker. Although I guess the Planeswalker's not nearly as good here, because I'd have a lot of creature in play. Yeah, I've cut Teferi completely from this build to try and add more early plays like Growth Chamber Guardian and land more elves to help my bad matchups. I don't think that's strictly true, Jukeboxer. It also, like, what people think about things being competitive or not, like, you know, varies from person to person. I've literally traveled around the country making top 8s with decks that, like, people told me were bad. So, if you want to say my deck is bad, you better be constructive and specific about it, or take a quick break. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. That's great for your wallet. I do what I can. Do you believe there's a hero deck in Standard? Yeah, probably. We actually have a really sweet 4-color hero deck in the queue. Get to put this land into play. Perfect. Put this into play. Attack for 6 again. Your deck is bad. I'm not sure why. Can I have 10 minutes to figure it out? Definitely. Quench me, baby. Yeah. Quench that angel thirst. Anybody else thirsty for angel? Because I've got what quenches you. I like after hours, Jeff. Or Zab Aggro. Thank you, Burley. Worth noting here, too, the activated ability on Angel of Grace is going to be relevant. It's a long time sub. People spew stays off the chat. So the sound breeding pool make seal the fate of paper magic? Probably. Breeding pool is a gross one. Yeah, Hero of Precinct 1, the one that makes a thing when you play a multicolored spell. Thoughts of Frilled Mystic in Modern? Mystic Stake's been Modern legal for forever and not good enough. Making it harder to cast and adding 1 more power doesn't fix that. Modern's a fast, brutal format. Don't try and play 4-mana cards in it. You can find my schedule that includes what decks I plan, what formats I plan to play on which days on my website here. We did 2 entire days of all Magic Online last week, so I could dedicate more time to Magic Arena this week. Yeah, I have an Assure Assemble in some of the builds of this deck. But I'm not sure if those builds are good or not. I'm just trying different things out. Do I just want to put double Growth Chamber into play here? I think I do. Because putting double Growth Chamber into play here, it shuffles my Angel of Grace away, but it puts them dead through this Angel of Grace activation, which is ideal. How many Chemister's Insights have I played? 2 already? I guess I'm not playing one of these lands out. We'll hold the other in case we draw another. Yeah, we had a big viewer boost for being on the front page this morning, so I decided to run a little bit late, play a couple extra decks. This is the start of Bant Flash. So, the stream rules ask that if you want to suggest a card, my goal with the stream rules is to simply, instead of sitting here telling people that their ideas are bad, instead if someone wants to suggest a card that we play, they take the time to form an argument as to why the card they're suggesting is good. That's my request. So instead of me saying, Grixis is bad and here's why, try and think about why the card might be good. And if you can't make an argument for why the card is good, it's probably not worth playing. And if you can make an argument for why the card is good, maybe it is good and we can have a discussion about it. But I personally would rather not sit here and just crap on every idea that people put out, but instead have them generate a real discussion. It seems fine in a controlling mirror. Getting our land drops is good. What does Bogles mean? Bogle harkens back to the card Slippery Bogle, which sees play in Modern. We're playing Sabotage over Absorb today because Land War Elves can cast Sabotage. It cannot cast Absorb. How much would it cost you to spend a whole day crapping on people's ideas? That's kind of a fun question. I don't think I play into a counterspell here. I think I just attack with these and pass the turn. So I'm gonna no attacks here and then just plan to end step the Stream Eater. Because if they counter this, I can untap and get Growth Chambers going, which would be a win. So, like, if they counterspell this, they're now tapped out, basically. So I can untap and, like, play Growth Chamber plus activate Growth Chamber and, like, hit for 2 here. So, like, now I have 6 power in play. Which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to try Growth Chamber in this deck, because this type of sequence is, like, good in the control matchup, right? Like, I'm applying pressure even with these Land War Elves and just, like, slowly grinding them out. Hey, waifu. I'm gonna be going for, like, another hour, I think.
Okay. I don't care.
How are the monsters doing?
They don't want to.
They don't want to play with you. That's mean. Why don't they want to play with you?
Because they want to watch people play with toys on the internet.
They want to watch people play with toys on the internet. Oh. So do we. Whenever I wonder if, like, Twitch has a future, I just, like, look at the things my kids like to watch on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, this stuff is here to stay.
I can make the panels
I don't know. I don't really care, Caboose Man. It's all semantics. Shut up about the panels.
Why are they so mean?
This is Twitch chat. Clearly you two haven't met. So they get a Dream Eater here, and then we're mostly out of gas.
Mods, punish the mean people.
think there's a straight Simic deck using Bioman. Probably not. Generally speaking, straight Simic decks need to splash of colors. They have some kind of meaningful interaction. The 3 mana. No, wait, he gets paid to do this. Let's go ahead, J-Rock. The amount of Surveil here is really powerful too.
Wait, somebody just said something about the surprise eggs. There are so many videos out there about surprise eggs.
There are a lot of surprise egg videos.
They're like, it's like its own genre.
So we really want to draw a Dream Eater of our second Dream Eater so we can bounce this one back to our hand. All right, I'm gonna move along here.
We're getting a little bit too ban happy, mods. Calm down.
Too ban happy. This is Hoaglandia. Don't speak that sacrilege.
The Kinder, those eggs aren't even delicious. Those chocolate eggs with the little toys in them.
It's pretty much just me.
Wait, somebody else said something I wanted to respond to.
Something that is important to keep in mind while we're playing here is that while the Land War Elves do help accelerate us, they do increase the rate at which we flood out, because this deck is effectively playing 29 mana sources because there's 25 lands and 4 elves. So my mana sequencing here to start is really important. So I'm leaning on the Hallowed Fountain, and I'm going to shock in the Temple Garden, even though I could go Temple Garden Island untapped and not take damage, because I want to make sure my third land comes into play untapped, because I don't want it to be necessarily super obvious that I'm passing, holding Sinister Sabotage up. And if I pass on turn 3 after shocking in the land, it's like, oh, they have 3 mana counterspell. Whereas this way can potentially conceal what exactly I have going. Warcraft Nerdy with the 11-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. I think precog is really terrible in this deck because we never take advantage of the addendum. This deck wants to be constantly playing out on the opponent's turn, and the addendum encourages us to play out on our turn. This is the best Chemister's Insight deck in the format because we're playing Frilled Mystic and Settle the Wreckage alongside of it. Okay, that's a really bad play. All right.
The leaves are a cute little aesthetic.
They are.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
It's about people watching people do stuff on the internet. I saw a meme. It was like a woman posted it, and it said, "My children." I asked my children, "Why do you watch other people play with toys on the internet when you could just play with toys yourself?" And then she's like, "Also me, turns on HGTV and watches other people buy houses." Like, it's totally true. It's just like reality TV, right?
You can ban people that say stuff like that. So all the mods can click into Firefang's message there. Those folks can get permanent bans. Enjoy. Was I listening to your story? Not really. I have headphones on and I'm playing the game.
I just said you didn't listen.
Well, I thought you were sharing with chat. I didn't know I was supposed to listen.
I was sharing with everybody.
I mean, do I ever listen?
It was just funny because, like, watching people play games on the internet, watching people play with toys on the internet, and then, like, grown people watch HGTV and watch people buy houses. It's like the same thing.
If I was looking to buy into TGA, what sets would I recommend picking? Definitely the Ravnica sets. Guilds and the latest set have all the shocklands that you want to be picking. Blind them with the brand new Prime support. Thank you very much for keeping me employed here with that. I appreciate it.
It's funnier when you read the meme, not when I say it.
So yeah, I think I'm just passing here. I would like to comment here that trying Growth Chamber Guardian here has felt really good. Like playing it on 2 and then passing with Sinister Sabotage up or the Growth Chamber activation felt fantastic. Like that's kind of everything I want to be doing. Like exactly how we drew it up. It's possible that the Land War Elves are like worse than Op, but I think there's something to playing Growth Chamber Guardian. How are we doing, folks? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody wherever you're at in the world. Thanks for hanging out through the end of the stream here today. Pretty awesome. Just love 3,600 people hanging out. My name is Jeff Hoagland. This is my lovely wife, Christy, that I just banged in the head with my headphones. I stream full-time here on Twitch. I'm here playing Magic 30, 40, 50 hours a week. We do a ton of standard best of 3
60,
constructed.
70, 80.
We play a ton of standard best of 3 constructed almost every single day here on Twitch. Big shout out as always to all of my subscribers. I wouldn't be here day in and day out without their wonderful support. They are quite literally the folks that keep me employed. Past subscribing, you can also support my stuff by checking out some of my very wonderful sponsors. Harry's Razors would love to help you get that close, clean shave using code Jeff Hoagland at bit.ly/shave. You can save $5 on your brand new starter kit with them. Remember, just because you like playing the degenerate decks doesn't mean you need to look like it. Hurley Burley Studio does professional Magic the Gathering altars. They do border extension as well as full art alterations. You can find a wonderful portfolio of all of her stuff at hurleyburleystudio.com, and you can save 10% on your orders there with them by using code Jeff10. Cardsphere.com will love to help you turn your cards into other cards direct to their players. There's no haggling, and they just take 1% fee off the top. They also very recently added a wonderful draft simulator to their website, so if you enjoy Limited, be sure to check that out over there. And of course, inkedgaming.com will love to help you customize your gaming experience using code Jeff Hoagland, Jeff12 at inkedgaming.com. You can save 12% on your orders of sleeves, deck boxes, all sorts of custom stuff. I'm mixing my ad shills up, Chad. It's all live. None of this is pre-recorded. I've been doing this for 10 hours today.
If you had even like the tiniest bit of musical talent, you'd be really good at singing because you don't breathe when you talk.
I do not breathe when I talk. You're not wrong. If I stop to breathe, we're gonna lose people because the shill break would be too long. Gotta keep it clippy. These are my favorite hands. Just none of the lands come into play untapped. And thank you for the biddies early. I'm gonna take all your ad bits and add them to your black-white deck, by the way. So I'll probably get that up pretty soon. So I think on the draw I might mulligan this, but I think on the play, no untapped lands is fine.
No, you gotta not breathe to get those high notes and drag them out.
You should try rapping with how good you've gotten at the shilling bit. I'm really in love with Growth Chamber. It gives you a ton of early pressure this deck was previously lacking. I'm not sold on Land War Elves though, since Op give you a little. Yeah, I agree, Edgelord. I think there's a chance that like I actually have a build in my deck editor thing there as well that has no elves but has Growth Chamber.
You should break out into freestyle rap now.
I don't know how to do that.
You're Jeff Hoagland. You play a game that has a land.
Oh honey. Oh honey. So this is a spot where Growth Chamber Guardian's a little bit awkward, right? Because, like, I want to play Quench instead of grab that. Instead of jamming that. So they shocked that in. So they finally hit a shock land. We did not.
I think every time you play a shock land, you should get tased.
You should. That sounds terrible.
Shock.
I think I could play Growth Chamber Guardian here and still hold up Quench, but I think I'd rather hold up Chemister's Insight. I'd like to try and find my way into some untapped lands, ideally. What does my wife do for work? My wife is a business analyst for a major insurance company.
You sound like a monster jobs ad.
A monster jobs ad. Listen, I'm being specific but nondescript, okay?
I like it.
Wow, Syncopate's brutal there because it Syncopate counters or exiles the Chemister Insight, so I don't get to jumpstart it later.
This game is visually appealing.
It is in fact visually appealing. It's one of the many reasons it does better than Magic Online. Do I like Chipotle? What kind of question is that? Of course I like Chipotle.
As a parent of young children, I love Valentine's Day because I get to make homemade Valentine's cards for them.
Look at it squish. Squish. Again, this feels pretty good here. Yeah, but again, Boom Wizards are like, people are like, oh, Chemister's Insight Mirror is one of the reasons to play Syncopate. That's actually less of a reason to play Syncopate because this deck is good against other Chemister's Insight decks. So again, stop making changes to your deck that try to make good matchups better. Instead, ask what matchups suck and how do I make those better? And Quench is much better against the aggressive decks than Syncopate is. It is colder in the basement than upstairs, for sure. Sure. So I'm trying to figure out all their options here. We can Quench something next turn, as well as activate Growth Chamber Guardian. They're heading to their 7th land here, which Niv Mizzet's the card we're hoping to dodge. They can't quite Teferi plus 3 mana counter, but they can Teferi plus Quench or Syncopate here. Ixalan's Binding. Well, that's incredibly rude. Do I just let this happen? I think I just let this happen.
Does this mean we will call a timeout or a pause?
So the way their timer system works is you don't have a total round timer, you have a per turn timer, and when you use up too much of your per turn timer, you can burn these as extra time to think. So basically the longer you play, the more thinking time you get. Yeah, I agree that Land War Elves might not be great. Yeah, if you want to be non-committal, 2 Quench, 2 Syncopate could be the way to go, for sure. Getting the extra Growth Chamber Guardian here, even though we can't cast it, actually has synergy with our Chemister's Insight, right? It's kind of funny. So I can, if they try and jam, I really like this card. This card's adding a nice amount of pressure to what we're doing. Like, it's forcing them to act, basically. And if they, like, try and jam a Planeswalker with a counterspell up, I can, like, Frilled Mystic plus Quench them. They have, like, a seal away here. I'm a little bit sad, but it's really not the end of the world. This is going to draw us up to 6 cards. I'll ditch this. We'll draw up to 7 cards. Actually, I might want to ditch... That's probably fine. I'm going to jumpstart this. I think I'm actually going to ditch the Settle the Wreckage here, because if I draw a Dream Eater, I could potentially cast this later.
When they put Chemister, did they mean chemist? Was that a name?
No idea. I'm going to shock this in, so that way I can play Angel plus Frilled Mystic in the same turn. As a music teacher, Jeff does have a genuine intuitive musical ability. When you sing, you pick a key and stay in it. It might not be the original key of the song, but that hardly matters. You also have a remarkable memory for tunes. Listen, this person's great. They're obviously very smart. Obviously a very smart individual.
Clearly, they've never been subject to Google karaoke.
All right, play a counterspell, please. Oh, yeah! Activated my trap card, opponent. Bye, good night. I see the odd farewell. So they can block these two. They can block this here. This is going to be a game where we manage to beat Niv. So they could trade these and go to 2, or they could eat this and go to 1. Niv with the sub-gifty. Which type of deck would I have the most fun playing? I like this deck. This Bant Flash deck's a lot of fun. I'm not sure about this particular build, but I like this archetype as a whole. Yep.
Like, let's just say you wouldn't be the American Idol.
Wouldn't be the American. They didn't say I sounded good. They said I have good technique, basically.
I'm sure.
Oh, that gave lifelink as well here. Awkward. So if they have a way, to answer Angel of Grace here when they attack with this, it's probably going to be the part where I pack it in.
Are you the one and only Hooglandian idol?
So if they have an Absorb or an Ionize here, I'm going to go ahead and move along. Just like had 3 Absorbs in their top... Just 3 Absorbs in their top 20 cards. Definitely, Niv is one of the harder cards for us to beat in this deck, game 1. We have a lot of good answers post-board, but game 1 it definitely is kind of tough.
Yeah, I can do that, Immortal Echoes. My phone's upstairs.
Settle's pretty bad. I want these negates. I'm going to cut the Landmore Elves, see how that feels. I'm kind of into the Growth Chamber Guardians, although cutting the Elves and not having Opt might be bad overall.
Do you get to pick your avatar?
You can. I intentionally don't have one selected, so it rotates every game.
Oh, that's cool. Are they just planeswalkers to choose from?
Yep.
Look, I knew a word.
Can you deselect your avatar? I don't believe so.
I thought Lithuania was a democracy.
It is a democracy in the same way the United States is a democracy.
Well,
This is fine. It needs another blue source, but it's like pretty reasonable. Growth Chamber on the play feels good. Is it worth thinking about our decision to bin Settle over the Elf last game? I guess that's fair. I don't know. Like, they attack with Div, we're probably still not winning there. You could uninstall, reinstall, or possibly delete your preferences. Please stop yelling. Oh no! The man in the talkie box is loud! Why isn't there a way to make the man in the talkie box quieter?
fun fact, your device has a volume button.
The only one that's allowed to complain about my volume is her. She's the only one out of all of y'all that doesn't have a volume control, okay?
I really desperately wish I had a volume control.
Alright, we hit the blue source, that's good. I feel like Incubation Druid plus Absorb to replace Landwar Elves plus Sabotage would be good. That's actually a good idea, Quinn. Let's try that, actually. I think that's a fantastic idea. Do you see it? Can we praise T4 Tarquin there for a moment and just like appreciate their feedback and how it was specific and address problems that we were talking about? That's such a fantastic way to give feedback. 13 months there from FD Majaro. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate it. Listen, there's great examples in the stream rules. People ignore them. What's the saying? You can drown a horse in water trying to make it drink?
Riot, Declan. Somebody asked the best song you sing. The answer is none.
None? Wow, you're rude. Love me. Love me. The Worm doling out the sub gifties. Thank you very much. Tie Dog Golden Guns with the brand new Prime support. Thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this way. I know there's a lot of people you give that to every month, but thanks for giving it here. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I'm aware. I'm aware. The joke is trying to make Twitch chat drink water is going to drown them because they just don't figure it out. Ninja 4. Thank you for the brand new Prime support as well. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Why am I ramping my voice when I end each phrase? I don't know. Why not? Because it's my channel. And I'll cry if I want to.
What's my favorite thing Jeff does? Stop talking.
Equinox with the 21-month resub. At this point, it would be easier if I just gave you my Amazon login. Thanks for the 21 months. Welcome back. Now is a great time to buy into KCI. You can't possibly be disappointed if you bought into KCI at this very moment.
How do you read the chat?
I'm a professional. Yeah, I'm a beginner. She's so mean to me. Alright, lands please. Alright, that's a good start. So, turn 3 here is definitely a good time to jam because they're not going to untap and play something scary on 4. I guess they could technically have a Karn, but like that's not that scary. And my LGS people often make the player draw a card and say, so you're saying there's a chance, and others start singing Take a Chance on Me? That's great, Davis. That's truly fantastic. Land, please. Lands for the next 3 turns would be ideal. Actually, even just a land this turn would be good, so that way we can get to Chemister's Insight. If we break here, we're probably dead. I have been streaming all day, JW. We had a good viewer boost, so I decided to do a long one. And people wanted to cut Bant Flash in, and you know I'm all about playing Bant Flash. Ugh. In other news, KCI has never been cheaper. Ain't that the truth? Whee! Yeah, I like the idea of Incubation Druid. Both those adapt cards have been really good in other decks, so playing them both here makes a lot of sense. If I don't hit a land here, I'm gonna concede. Curse you, making me continue to play game. Have seemed the weakest / least fun. Turbo Fog really disappointed. I was really unhappy with how that deck performed. I haven't submitted a deck yet for my tier 3. Can I put that and these towards Mardu Knights? Definitely Unholy Face. Thanks for the support. I believe that will push it into tomorrow, but I need to sort everything out. So likely tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Wednesday. Thanks for keeping me around. If I don't do this, I have to discard to hand size, so this seems worth doing. Canopy's really flexible in this matchup. I love it a lot. If this eats a counterspell, that's fine. Something was going to eat a counterspell at some point. Yeah, getting an Absorb burned on that feels pretty good. I hit the extra land here, so these Carnage Tyrants are hopefully going to slam into play and do some work. I watched an ad for you. It was awful. Thanks for the bit, Steve. I didn't upkeep the Canopy because if I upkeeped the Canopy, I wouldn't be able to, I would have had to discard to hand size.
I am not going to sit this. Keep up the pace.
Alright, so I'm going to give them 1 chance to kill the Carnage Tyrant. If they answer the Carnage Tyrant, we don't get to kill Jeffrey, I'm going to pack it in. We're going to try some Incubation Druids. Wasn't it worth it to quench the Absorb there? Why would I quench the Absorb? What does that accomplish? What is quenching an Absorb that doesn't counter it do? This counters unless they pay 2, so they would have just paid 2. Do you have a preference to Absorb versus Ionize? Absorb 100%. If your deck can cast both, you should be playing Absorb. Alright, so I guess we'll find out if they have ways to take Carnage Tyrant off the table left in their deck. They might not. And if they do, they might be Settle the Wreckage, which could let Frilled Mystic take them down here. Carnage Tyrant backed up by counterspells is a nasty one. Okay, sweet. I think we get to take Teferi off the table here, and then in spite of them having more cards in hand than me and this Azcanta going, this Carnage Tyrant could run away with the game. Teamer Vanafear. If you click standard decks, it'll be up there. Remember when our Wraththrone counterbolt? Yep. It was a dock time. I wonder if I'm supposed to Ixalan's Binding there. Probably not, because they could Niv Mizzet me. I really don't want to get Niv Mizzeted, huh? Esper decks have seemed really mediocre with what I've played so far. How do you report a bug? I have no idea, actually. Wow, are they just passing back? That's so good for me. gonna play a threat. Come seal away. I have some random bits lying around. Put these towards whichever deck has a lot of planeswalkers. Will do, Furious Squirrel. Thanks for the biddies. I'm intentionally holding on to the second Carnage Tyrant in case they find a way to deal with this first one. Likely, any way they have to deal with this is going to deal with both of them, so I'd rather not play both of them into whatever that is. We have an Absorb. Ral, huh? Quench reminding us that it's really not mana leak here. I only have 7 mana total. So if I Frilled Mystic, they absorb, and then they have 2 left over.
Decisions.
I do like that having small things like Crab in my deck has forced my opponent to board in a really awkward manner. Land please, land please. Really want double Frilled Mystic up next turn. That's unfortunate. It's like not that unfortunate. It's another castable card. I think I'm going to keep holding on to this Quench. I think I'm going to bin the Chemister's Insight here.
Get back to the lab.
Whenever someone uses the term snowflake as an insult, I can't help but wonder if they actually know the origin of that word and using it as an insult like that. The origin of using that word as an insult. Traces back to Fight Club, and if you know what that movie's about, you should probably know that that's like not something you want to be doing. Just like the antagonist in that movie, the main character was the word snowflake as an insult like that. You're familiar? If you're familiar, yeah, it's from Fight Club. Tyler Durden is his name, right? And like, for people that haven't actually watched Fight Club, that movie is about how easily it is to like radicalize people who are angry and hateful towards people who are different than them. You've been streaming for longer than I've been awake today. Hardest working man in show business. Thanks for the 3-month speed. His name was Robert Paulson. In Project Mayhem, we don't have names. Yep. Ugh. Well, I mean, like, I keep drawing good cards here. I guess the Quench is the discard now. What are the odds they don't have a way to take this Carnage Tyrant off the table? I feel like there's a chance they just, like, don't have a way to take it off the table. That's not what that refers to, though, Meta Magic Missile. So what you're using, the way you're using the term there, and this is why context matters, chat. Words have different meanings based on how they are used. So the way in which you're referring to the word in that reference is different to what people mean when they call someone a snowflake today. That's not what they mean. Alright, they found their cleansing nova. This is why we go ahead, we have this to go ahead and play out now. That's why I was holding on to this, because if they had an answer with something like cleansing nova to kill them all. When you get a hate DM from a recent ban, yep. I get hate DMs from bans all the time, okay? So if they take this off the table, the plan is probably gonna pivot to decking them.
Let's skip to the good part.
Wonder how many Novas exactly are in their deck. Not used to experiencing standards online, yep. So, how many absorbs are they through? They're through 2, 3, they're through all 4 absorbs. There's probably some amount of negates in their deck post-board. Just gonna go ahead and kill Teferi. Holding on to this Ixalan's Binding for a Niv Mizzet. That's what the next fight this game is gonna be about. If they can't take Carnage Tyrant off the table, they're gonna try and go over the top of him with Niv Mizzet. They might have Star of Extinction. That's true. I don't know. I don't know that Star is something that's necessarily gonna come in against us. While they have Deafening Clear in their deck still, that's really interesting. And again, like, I don't really fault my opponent because their deck's not really stock, right? Especially with the crabs in it. So, like, they're trying to figure out exactly what they want to be doing. Yeah, but, like, they've seen enough of their deck that they're probably going to start getting back to the cards that they've bottomed with Azcant at this point. Now, I don't really want to play out another threat. I want to leave up 2 counterspells to try and keep my Carnage Tyrant alive. I think Absorb was going to replace Sabotage in decks that can cast both. It depends on what their mana base looks like and how consistently they can cast both. Sure. We'll fight over the second one here. So they need to have double counterspell to protect this one. Hey, good evening, Anner. Perfect. So they're not winning this. Because even if they hit another counterspell for the Frilled Mystic, I have a Sabotage. I'm gonna keep that. Extra threats seem fine here. Yeah, things got a little crazy there, Inner. Thunk. Do I think they have more sweepers? So that's through 2 Clarions. Dream Eater cannot bounce your own card. Dream Eater explicitly bounces cards your opponent controls. I actually want to test a copy of I would like to test a copy of, what's it called in this deck at some point? Oh, I'm blanking on its name. The, Blink of an Eye. I mean, Seal Away has Flash. Alright, they just bottomed 3 cards here. This has been a good game of Magic. Playing this deck against Control decks is a good time. I mean, this is post-board. Like, I don't think Boulder's Reclamation is very good in this deck. You don't need more mana. You just, like, need more stuff to do. Do I need to play any cards out here? I'm gonna go ahead and end step the Dream Eater, try and get the Surveil in. We know they didn't have a counterspell last turn, so, like, there's a good chance this resolves this turn. They have 14 cards in their deck, so, like, they need to not die, and then they need to actually win the game here, too. Have we done any Jeskai decks recently? I've not, but I believe we're going to get to one tomorrow. Tomorrow or Wednesday. I have to total all the points up when I sign off today. Syncopate. That makes sense. That's a counterspell that they wouldn't have had last time. Yeah, we're definitely a control deck. This is like a control mirror. Yep. Good enough for ranked best of 1? Probably not. I think you'd probably need to change something around to make this deck much better against mono red. I think that's probably one of the matches where you struggle in. Yep. Alright, so they need 2 counterspells here. They need a counterspell for Dream Eater, and they need a counterspell for Ixalan's Binding. I think I actually don't want another Angel at this point. I'm gonna take the negate. They could have dived down here. Okay. Okay. That kills Dream Eater. There are 10 cards in their deck, chat. And they're going to 1 from the Carnage Tyrant hit next turn. And I'm gonna get to flash in some Angels. Ranked best of 3 is coming at the end of the month. This is game 3. Right, we have Carnage Tyrants in. We have 2 of these post board. The Dream Eater animation is really good, I agree. Just in time for Carnage T to crash. What's going on? I'm Aril. Hey, appreciate the 11 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Yeah, sweet. All right. All right, let's try and I want to try Incubation Druid. I like that idea a lot. Do I want the full 4? I'm not sure if I want the full 4. I'm gonna put something else in here over the 4th one. You're not sure what card to put in, play an opt? Sure, love it. When in doubt, cantrip it out. I think 25 lands is probably fine. We have Incubation Druid, or we're playing Landwar Elves as another way to make mana, and Growth Spiral helps you hit land drops as well. I think MTGA should let you do convert. I would like it if you could up convert wild cards. That would be nice. I agree. I don't know about 2-to-1, but even if it was like 10-to-1, like if I could turn 10 uncommons into a rare, I would do that in a heartbeat. The single op gives me filter anxiety. I'm gonna keep this on the draw. You got 15 green sources. Even if we don't hit green and we just draw more blue and white lands, I like get to play Magic. Did you explain why you swapped the sabotages? Yeah, so the reason why I had sabotages over Absorb previously was because Landwar Elves can't help cast Absorb, but it can help cast Sabotage, because Landwar Elves only explicitly makes green mana, whereas Incubation Druid makes mana of any color, so it can help cast Absorb. I think Absorb is the better counterspell if you can cast both, but I was playing Sabotage previously because I wanted to be able to cast Sabotage off of it. Perfect. The best part about drawing that off the top after they thought erased us is they get to know how lucky we are. Merfolk Trickster's an interesting thought. I had some of those in one of the earlier builds I put together, but I never actually played games with it. It might be worth playing. Chupacabra, read. Hexproof deck was neat. I don't know if it was very good, but it was definitely neat. Seal Away is okay as well. I've definitely played Seal Away in some of the main decks that we have. I think the main deck on my website has like 2 Seal Away in it. I think. I've had two at various points. Stop it. Yeah, this is gonna be my last deck of the night. I've been live for almost 11 hours, so about time to wrap things up and then work another. So after I sign off, I have to do like another 90 minutes of work. But definitely wanted to leverage the good numbers that we had from today. They are 1 land away from flipping this, which sucks. Keep their 2/2 here. That block is weird. Didn't they know we had the angel? Yeah, I think so. Eldest Reborn. Yep. Oh, this was a mistake. Did I draw a Quench? Am I gonna draw a Quench here? If I draw a Quench, I tapped wrong, or played the wrong land. I probably should have left myself so I could Chemister's Insight into the Quench there. That trade was because they had the Eldest Reborn out. Did I just skip playing a land? God, I'm so fast and loose at the moment. This is a bad deck to play at the end of the day. Need to like line up the aggro decks through the end of the day. So I assume this is getting back Nicol Bolas for them here. We'll discard the Temple Garden. I assume they're gonna get back Nick and then flip Nick. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna hold on to this for now, because I'd like to flash it at instant speed to pressure this ideally. Can the Nicol Bolas flip be stifled? Yes, definitely. Quench doesn't really have text at this point. They can get back another Nicol Bolas here after they flip this, I guess. If they flip this and plus, they get to draw 2 cards, but then I can actually kill this because I can adapt both of these next turn because I have 9 mana. So I'm pretty sure I can take this thing out, regardless of what they do here.
I'm limitless. The dead shall serve me.
Discard this Quench that isn't going anywhere. Met this stream just a couple of days ago. As an old-time Twitch viewer, I have to say congratulations on the quality of your stream. Thanks. Thanks, Clint. I appreciate the compliment. Glad you're having a good time. So, I just hit this with both of these. Do they just keep looping these? That might be an issue. I guess I can add Angel of Grace to play and block this, which is nice. So I have 9 mana here total, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the Hallowed Fountain out so I have slightly better mana since I already have 9, so I can Insight plus Angel's Grace. The Angel's Grace in my bin is gonna let me erase pretty well here too. This is Magic's new beta client called Magic Arena. Although this went into open beta in October. Has Magic standard formats as well as limited on it. You said earlier you would have played a Blink and some people suggested playing in front of one op. Do you think it's valuable versus aggro? It's better than nothing against aggro. So like the Blink isn't like a card you're excited to have against aggro, but it's also like better than a lot of other things you could have. I could have adapted plus Angel there, but I'd rather just Chemister's Insight. So I could have adapted into Angel, but I'd rather draw 2 cards. Is why I did the secret. Why I did what I did. Modern's probably never going to be on this application, although we might get. We're definitely getting a new non-rotating format. Let's just get risky here. Yes, Blink can buy your own cards back, which is relevant too. The fart sound makes the application. Yeah, I agree. I think this card's really good. I don't know about the mana accelerant, but this felt better than Land Worlds for sure. But I'm pretty sure Growth Chamber Guardian ends up in whatever the final appearances of this archetype is. The fact that you can, like, adapt at instant speed is very valuable as well. Alright, so they're dead on board. Yeah, of course, we're running 4 Frilled Mystic. That card, Frilled Mystic is love, Frilled Mystic is life. Yeah, I agree, Freak. I think Growth Chamber Guardian is going to be a staple 4 of in most decks. They definitely should have done that during their turn. A little bit greedy on sequencing on their part. So Grixis, probably don't mind Ixalan's Binding. Settle the Wreckage seems really bad. A couple of Carnage Tyrants seem decent. Trim my one filler opt. Seems fine. I don't think this is a Crushing Canopy matchup, although I guess Canopy kills Niv Mizzet and it kills Eldritch Reborn. They're probably a Niv Mizzet deck, right? Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea then. Okay, let's do it. Your 2-mana blue counterspell that blinks your Frilled Mystic at instant speed. Yeah, it seems a little bit narrow. Yeah, I don't think it's a negate matchup. I think I'd rather have Quench. Seems a little slow on the draw, but we can have Quench up for Nicol Bolas on their 4, so... What time do I think the YouTube vids will go up tonight? Probably like 90 minutes or so from now. If you're a Twitch sub, you can watch them right away. Otherwise, you gotta wait for YouTube to process. We haven't imported the Lyra in yet. The Lyra Shalai is in the sideboard for the aggro matchup, but we haven't played against those decks to start. Stop it. I have not played any Wilderness Reclamation decks that I like. So, it's not to say good ones don't exist, but I haven't been impressed by any that we've played yet. Land! Alright, let's growth spiral here and hit a second land. Wow, that's rude. I guess this is actually fine for me, because now I don't have to discard to hand size. Because I get to just, like, play this land for the turn and be fine. That's all I wanted to do, right? Was, like, not discard to hand size. Yeah. So, like, by not playing the land, I encouraged them to do what they did there, which was counter my growth spiral, even though we really didn't care about it. Yeah. Yeah, they read me playing that before I played my land as me being stuck on lands and not having a 5th. Sure. I really love that having the small green creatures in this deck does things like makes people leave in stuff like Lava Coil against us. That's pretty awesome. I'm not just gonna jam the Carnage Tyrant here because I think there's like a very high chance that my opponent still has Eldritch Reborn in their deck, and I'd like this card to like be better than that. Wonder if I'm not supposed to board this card in against Grixis. I think that's possible. That's a possibility. Perfect. Growth Chamber Guardian's exactly what I want here, because it's a cheap creature. That means I don't have to discard to hand size. And, like, if they spend a removal spell on this, I just adapt it in response. So, like, that seems like a win for me. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? You can just ban spoof accounts like that, Twin. Zoidberg, do the thing! Do the thing, Zoidberg! Yeah, this this Settle the Wreckage, Chemister's Insight, Frilled Mystic, like those spells together are just so fantastic. You're just like, well, I've got all the choices. I'd like that kind of free time, right, Mars? Yeah, like I said, and the fact that Growth Chamber Guardian insulates Carnage against Eldest Reborn is also really sweet. They could kill this in response, but again, if this is eating something like that in response, I think that's a win for me. Come on, counter my spell. That's just cheeky. Sure. So they should have killed that. They should have killed it in response, so that way I didn't get the other Zoidberg out of my deck. So if you kill it in response to it adapting, you don't get to search for the next one. All right, did you draw a negate? You did not. So much better than Conquistador. Oh crap, I should have played this out to insulate against another one. This is a mistake on my part. It's better than the cards you just mentioned because it costs 2 mana. I'm gonna discard this and go get some more cards here. I have Ixalan's Binding and what's it called in my deck? The other one. Pythoner, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch. Thanks for supporting mine. How much mana do I have right now? I have 5-9. Just conceding. God bless. All right, folks. I am just shy of the 11-hour mark, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. I really appreciate everybody that stuck through the end here. Still have over 3,000 people, which is absurd. Big shout out to everybody that stuck through picking us up off the front page today, and as always, shout outs to my subscribers and all the returning viewers. I'll be back again tomorrow morning. I'm gonna be firing up about 8 a.m. and I am gonna do a couple of modern leagues with some new cards on Magic Online to start, but I should be moving into standard on Magic Arena about 10:30, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we're gonna do 3 or 4, maybe even 5 new standard decks. Remember, if you missed any of today's stream, it's going to be published on my YouTube channel later this evening, about 90 minutes to 2 hours from now. Wiggin, thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate that. Welcome. And if you're looking for some new sweet decks in the meantime between then and when my new stuff is uploaded, head on over to my website. I didn't stream yesterday, but I spent a ton of time updating all the deck lists on my website. So if you click standard decks there, all of those decks are current with the new set. I updated the existing decks that existed previously, and I added a bunch of new sweet decks that we've been playing since Thursday. And all the deck lists on those standard decks pages, I update them regularly as we play them some more. So if I find a new idea or a card that I like better, I update my website with those changes. All right, I'm gonna find someone else. For people that don't want to watch YouTube or check out my website, I'm gonna find someone else streaming Magic here to host. Looks like Marty is streaming some Memekins. I'm gonna go ahead and send you over his way. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Everybody have a good evening.